It's been a good day's work for the Mercedes team as their drivers take P1 and P2 in today's practice session.
Alright lads, so here we are for episode number 4 of the F1 2015 Career Mode Championship for Season 2. As you can see here in practice, we're down in P17. Very disappointing session if you think about it. We did a time on Prime, so did everyone else, and we were something like 2.8 seconds off the pace. So that was very alarming. Heading into qualifying, I opted to go with 2-1 wings just to increase the straight line speed because, as you guys know, Bahrain is somewhat of a power track, so we'll need a little bit more straight line speed just to be a little bit more competitive at this racetrack. So here we are in qualifying, setting a few laps here in a row. We did something like 4 or 5 laps on our very first set of options, so that was very interesting to see how the tyre was just phasing in and getting quicker and quicker. Normally the trend is you'll be faster on your first lap, and then if you go for a second lap you'll normally be a lot slower. So it was interesting to see that we got something like 4, maybe even 5 good laps out of one set of tyres, so that was very interesting. So because of that, I've decided to up the tyre pressures to make them a little bit better on the very first, maybe even second lap of our qualifying run here. So maybe just low temperatures have meant that you have to do a lot of laps on the tyre just to get the most out of it. So that was quite interesting. We went for another run, only improved briefly, a little bit, to set a 34.5. We're in P6 at the moment, and now this is our final lap of the session. Another brand new set of tyres. I believe this is our first run on this set as well, but unfortunately we won't be able to get another lap in after this, I believe. So whatever we do now is where we're going to end up for the Bahrain Grand Prix. At the moment, Nico Rosberg leads from Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel in third, possibly Raikkonen's up there, Ricciardo in a Red Bull, not a Red Bull, in a Renault-powered car is in P5. So Bahrain, this really isn't a track that I'm expecting to do well at, simply because straight line speed is key at this racetrack. But we're going to try and do as well as we can in P6 at the moment, coming up to the third sector now. This is probably where we're going to lose a lot of our time coming through here. We are 1.4 seconds down on Nico Rosberg's time, so even now, this time isn't great. So we'll see where we end up at the end of this session here, but I don't imagine we'll get onto the front 2 rows of the grid here. But if we can improve to P5, then that'll be somewhat of an improvement in itself. But coming up to the line, opening DRS, it is P8. We improved by a tenth or something, but then we lost grid position. That was weird. Okay, so we're starting from P8 for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Welcome to Sakir for the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix. We hope you're ready for an exciting evening's action. After yesterday's qualifying session, it's Nico Rosberg who's put himself in the driving seat for the race, securing pole position with a thumping lap when it mattered.
He has clean air in front of him, so we'll be hoping he can...
Hang on a second, that's Paul Gilles doing an interview with Nico Rosberg there. That's incredible. He's gone from being a mechanic to being a reporter now. Okay, so here we are for the race. The strategy is a 2-stop, so another straightforward race we have ahead of us here. But 5 red lights, and away we go for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Round number 4 here in Season 2. It's not been a great start, has it? Dropping down to P9 initially as we come into turn 1 now. Up the inside, and as we go, Ricciardo get mugged, and we got the inside of a Ferrari of Kimi Raikkonen. So P5, very good first corner there after the disastrous initial start we got there. Next up is Massa Vettel in P3, and then obviously the 2 Mercedes cars leading as usual. So Ricciardo, the guy who started in a really good grid position considering his power unit is dropping off quite a bit at the start of this race. It's going to be a very tough race for the Renault powered cars. So myself, Carlos Sainz, Kvyat and Ricciardo, we're all going to struggle quite a bit in this race, let alone the McLaren Hondas. I think they'll be battling the Manners. But coming through the middle sector here on lap 1, we're trying to chase down Felipe Massa. It'll be interesting to see how the performance changes at the start of this race here with cold tyres, but I think that was Kimi Raikkonen had a massive dive bomb into the middle sector there, and he just went completely off here. As you can see on the replay, he gets caught up on the curb, but he just doesn't brake. And then he parks the car, as we see on the replay. He gets caught up on the curb, he goes massively wide, and then he stops the car. That makes no sense to me. Okay, so I believe Raikkonen is out of the race, but he hasn't retired yet because there's still 20 runners in this Grand Prix. Lap 3, Valtteri Bottas on the attack up the inside into turn 1. Can he make the move stick? No, he can't. So we hold on to P5 for the moment. We're already looking pretty vulnerable in this race, and DRS hasn't been available to use yet. Valtteri up the inside into turn 4 now. This is just a short straight in itself, and already he is looking very threatening in this race. I believe it's only going to be a matter of time before he gets around us. And look at that. He goes round the outside into the middle sector, the triple left-hander, and he overtakes us off the track there. Okay. So Valtteri is going to carry on. Even though we did kind of squeeze him off the track anyway, I suppose that's fair dues there. We'll carry on. The car behind us is Ricciardo. He's using a Renault power unit as well, so if there's anyone we can defend from, it's going to be Ricciardo, so we'll have to wait and see on that. We try and have a dive up the inside of Bottas. It wasn't really a dive, it was more or less just moving to the inside and braking a little bit later than usual to see if an opportunity would present itself. Lap 6, Hulkenberg up the inside into turn 1. So he got in front of Ricciardo, and now he's trying to get in front of me. So, as I said a few laps ago, it's going to be an awfully tough race for myself and Ricciardo. We just don't have the straight line speed to defend, even though I have 2-1 wings, and I'm assuming the AI have 6-6 wings. It's just the difference in straight line speed of this track is absolutely ridiculous. But lap 7 is still trying to hold on as we cut now to our very first pit stop here at the end of lap 9. So coming on for a set of option tyres, and then we'll go on to a set of primes at the very end of the race. I believe the option tyres is probably the more preferred tyre to race with, considering tyre wear won't really be too much of an issue. As we saw in qualifying, heating up the tyres is a bit of an issue, so the option tyre is probably the preferred tyre to be on at the moment. But here we can see just after the first pit stop, Nasser is on the attack up the inside into this left-hander. Is he going to make the move stick? No, he can't. So he drops back into P8. Yes, it was P8. But that was a lucky guess. I had absolutely no idea what position I was in. I'll take that. Lap 12 now. We can see we're on the attack of Jenson Button. Jenson came in about 2 or 3 laps early for a massive undercut. That's why he has track position. But unfortunately for Jenson, he's going to get absolutely murdered in the next few laps of this Grand Prix. He's got no straight line speed, and he's got much older tyres compared to everyone else in this race. He'd be lucky to finish in the top 15 with that kind of strategy, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Ricciardo now on the attack. He's getting in front of Felipe Nasr into the final corner. Is Nasr going to hold it around the outside? He's going to try. He might have DRS, so he might get back in front of him into turn 1. So yeah, this race, even though we are massively off the pace, it has still been massively entertaining, as you can see here, just trying to break away from the cars behind us. That includes Nasr and Ricciardo, who are battling quite a bit. So this is going to give me a bit of an opportunity to pull away. So that's what I'm going to try to do. But Raikkonen, remember him on the first or the second lap, he tried to dive bomb me up the inside. I thought he retired. He hasn't. He's carried on. And now he's coming back through the field at a vast rate of knots. The Ferrari is arguably one of the fastest cars on the grid this year. Probably the fastest, as Vettel has been winning a few races this year. He goes up the inside of Ricciardo into turn 1, and that is myself right in front of Raikkonen there. He is going to be very tough to keep behind. As you can see, Raikkonen, he's going to go for the same move he did on lap 2. This time, he gets the move done, and he takes P6. So after all the wars that Raikkonen has been in today, he's managed to come back through the field. I believe he dropped down to last. He's overtaken, what, 12 or 13 cars, and now he's going to scoot up the road. But I'm going to try and get back in front of him if I can. We've got DRS heading into turn 1. We dive up the inside, massive lockup, having to correct in the braking zone. We still get the move done for P6, but Raikkonen is on our outside there as we cut to the replay. Hopefully you can see the almighty lockup we had as we went into turn 1. It's not quite as graphic as what it was from the onboard, but I can tell you I was pretty much out of grip. I could not have broke any later than what I did, but we carry on here with the action here. Raikkonen is on our inside here. Ricciardo has got a watching brief now coming into turn 4, and Ricciardo has got it back in front of Raikkonen there, so that's probably worked out really well for us there, as we see on the replay from Ricciardo. You can see us squeezing Raikkonen all the way out to the right. I did that strategically so that Ricciardo could go right around the outside, and Raikkonen had the sort of compromise run through turn 4 there. So the two Red Bull drivers sort of working together there in harmony to beat the Ferrari. But now it's our final pit stop. It's Red Bull versus Toro Rosso versus Ferrari. Hopefully we can come out on top here with a really good tyre change here, but it looks like no, we've had to stack behind both Ricciardo and Raikkonen because a a Sauber was coming in right at the time that I needed to be released. So that is very, very frustrating considering we're so slow in this race in a straight line. I don't believe we'll get those positions back unless we can get in front of Raikkonen here, who seems to be struggling quite a lot on cold tyres. So that's very interesting. Can we sneak it up the inside into this left-hander? Raikkonen had a lock-up, but we had an even bigger lock-up there. So unfortunately after that, Raikkonen's tyres, they managed to heat up and he just scooted away. He got in front of Ricciardo and I just didn't have the pace to even stay with Ricciardo there. It was absolutely ridiculous. So we pretty much held position for the rest of the race. As you can see, final lap, final corner. Sebastian Vettel has won this race after Lewis Hamilton managed to bottle a race win there. He was leading from Rosberg, but somehow he's won. We've come home in P8, and that's just, it's not good enough, is it? Position 8, you'd expect better after the start of the season that we had. We were getting podiums, sort of in the top 4. We were leading the Drivers' Championship at one stage, but now it's looking fairly mediocre at the moment. But hopefully heading into Spain and Monaco, where tracks that don't have such a reliance on straight line speed, I'm really hoping we can challenge for the podium, and especially at Monaco, get the win, because we damn well need it at this stage. We're just slumping a little bit in form. But in saying that, it's been a really good race. We had some really good battles with Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Raikkonen. Even though he had that weird glitch on the second lap, he managed to come back through the field and finish in P6. So not too bad there from Raikkonen, considering he was last after the second lap. He did really well there. In terms of our own performance, we're not doing too bad, to be honest. I think we're sort of maximising what we can get from the car, considering Carlos Sainz, I don't believe he scored any points in this Drivers' Championship yet. He finished in P13 in this race, by the way. In terms of the Drivers' standings, we're down in P5. Vettel leads now after winning, I believe he's won a few races this season already, so he's looking very good at the moment. Rosberg second, Hamilton third. Massa surprised there in fourth, ahead of his teammate Valtteri Bottas, who's in P7. So very interesting championship shaping up, heading into Spain and Monaco. Hopefully we can get back into form, get some podiums, and really bank some solid points. So leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and until my next video, guys, I'll see you next time.